and I am going to play some Minecraft, which is what I do on this channel mostly. Um, oh, I'm out of. Uh-oh. I'm out of stuff. So I need to go in this direction. Run! Run, Forrest, run! And I am streaming a little bit earlier today because I am on vacation, or vacation is a bad word. I have time off. Because I live in Europe and they make you take time off. Of course, it's all like they make you take time off because if you change your, so I mean, it's better than some countries that don't have any time off at all, but generally the reason they make you take time off is because if you don't take the time off and, for example, you change your job, then you can just say, well, I have like 3 weeks of time off, so I'm gonna like take the 3 weeks. And so theoretically, you could be getting vacation pay from one job and then working a different job, or even just getting piggies, getting getting 3 weeks off without actually working for the company. And I took 3 weeks off this year because I was trying to be responsible, but now I actually have situations where I might need to take the time off and I don't have any days left. I think I do, actually. I have to check that, but all right. So I need to fill in my inventory with stuff. These will be, yes, leaf litter, more leaf litter. Let's see here, dirt. I haven't played Minecraft in a while because I think I'm addicted to Stardew Valley now. Because I was playing it before, and I was playing it on stream, and now I kind of know what I'm doing more so than I did before. So, yes. Just getting the dirt in a weird way. Let me check if anybody has joined me. Oh, there's one person watching. One person watching from Twitch. Of course, I don't remember what I was doing, to be honest. I know I was building. Oh, I know what I did. I made like a little. Puppies! I made like a little. Ow. Thing up here. So, yeah. I was over at my friend's on the weekend who had a baby. She didn't just have a baby, but like clearly I was the last person maybe not last person, because I didn't want to invite myself because that seems like something that the parents should do. But I didn't get invited, so eventually I invited myself. And I went, and their baby is like really cute. Kind of liked me, but I think that's because she was fascinated by the beard. Never saw a guy with a beard before. She was like pulling on it, which was nice and cute and everything. And very calm baby too. So yeah, but I don't know. I think we were talking, but it's kind of hard because I think that they're like my friend, her English is generally pretty good, but she's out of practice, right? Because she's not working at the moment. She's taking care of the baby. So we were like gossiping about work because we were on the same team. And bum 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 bum. Yeah, so we were on the same team, and yeah, so we were gossiping about work, and I was talking about like bureaucracy and stuff. And then her husband was talking about like how environmental fines are horrible, and it's horrible. Like uh, I think that I don't really watch the news very much because it makes me depressed. So I didn't really know what was going on with this, but apparently here they have some kind of government program where you can the companies, they have to return plastic bottles, and if they don't, they'll be fined. And people are like really outraged by this, I guess, which is like ridiculous because you're not more outraged about the fact that there's plastic everywhere and it's killing us. And yeah, and like part of the conversation was like, yes, plastic bag. Like I like him. I think he's a nice guy and everything, but I think that he has like these sort of like the libertarianism of youth, if you know what I mean. Like any taxation is bad, and um, yeah. But we were also talking about how food is bad and stuff. Oh, we have two people watching now. One person on YouTube and one person on Twitch. Thank you very much for joining me in the middle of the day in my time. Maybe morning for you, who knows. But yeah, so he's talking about so also they're talking about how food is bad and stuff. And it's like, if you want good quality food, I don't think that you want plastic everywhere. But I didn't get into a big argument because, as I said, I like literally spent like 13 seconds thinking about my opinion. You know, he's like, oh, I don't want to argue about politics. And it's like, are we arguing about politics? I was just having a conversation because my opinion is pretty uninformed. Yeah. So that was, and the other thing, we're talking about bureaucracy, and generally, um, I was complaining about Canadian bureaucracy because I'm trying to apply for passports for my kids so we can potentially go on a trip in the summer to Canada. And I was saying, like, oh, yes, in Poland, the bureaucracy is much better. You can just go to you know, you can go to the thing and get your passport like really quickly. Um, but so we have these things which are like, it's actually a really good idea. You have a government ID which is not connected to a license, because making I mean, it might seem weird in North America, but making your driving license your ID is like really idiotic. It's like if we made a pilot's license somebody's ID, you know. So in Europe, most countries in Europe, they have like a system where you have like a government issued ID. And I was about to apply for this. I thought that I would do it because you can apply online and then you need to make like an appointment um, in person in the office. So I have the week off. So I was like, okay, I will do it this week. So I'll go tomorrow and get my picture done for the ID. And then I'm going to meet my daughter uh, for a late lunch. And then, the 3 other days I can find an appointment. So I checked when I can actually make the appointment, and it's not till next month. So I need to and you need to make the appointment, you need to go within 30 days, right? And as I said, I don't have any more time off like until next year. So it was bad planning on my part, you know. But oh well. Okay, I think that was 3 stacks, so I will look now. All right. So Miss MX says, I'm not watching. I have my eyes closed. Twitch is lying. And just like that, I sit down and more work issues, calls. I'll try to drop by later. Yeah. I don't know if she's still here. Probably not. But generally, she works, I guess, as from what I gathered, connected to uh, clearing snow in Norway. So we even have snow here, which it's not unusual to have snow in Poland, but in the place of part of Poland where I live, it happens, but rarely. So usually it doesn't happen this early in the winter, and we have snow. So, which I'm not complaining about because I don't have to drive anywhere. And let me just go around and around and around and around. Ah, I need to sit down though. This chair is not very comfortable. Still not comfortable. Ah, I need a gaming chair or something. And it's kind of understandable because my friends are like first time parents, so everything is about the baby, and they're really happy, right? But they're like very like, oh, we're gonna like take pictures of you and the baby, and do you want to hold the baby? And I'm like, I don't really need to hold the baby. Like, I just wanted to meet the baby. I don't really need to hold the baby. They're like, no, 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 hold the baby, hold the baby. So it's been like 10 years since I held a baby. So I'm like, what did I do here? I guess that's weird. Um, so I'm holding the baby, and she's like moving around like a little sumo wrestler, and she's got her head like on a swivel moving around, and I'm trying to hold her, and I'm like, oh my god, my anxiety starts like acting up, and I'm like, I'm gonna drop her, I'm gonna drop her, I'm gonna drop her. These people are gonna kill me. I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna, like, all these things. I'm like, hey, maybe you wanna, because I'm eating some of this cake that they made, and it was really, really good. And I'm like, so anybody want to hold her while I finish my cake? But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have a kid right now because I have two kids and I'm way too old to be a parent right now. But certainly, like, a different kind of energy in your life where, when your kids are older, you don't really have that kind of energy. It's like you're just like, I think that you can see that they are really tired, and they're happy that they have this responsibility and everything, but they're really tired and they're really happy to talk about anything that's not connected to their children. Whereas, if you have older children, it's sometimes really difficult to convince them that they can spend time with you, and that would be fun. you know all right, I'm going to check the chat because I got rid of 3 stacks. Oh, still 2 people watching. But they didn't seem to want to talk about anything apart from work and politics. They didn't, like, I actually have a few, like, I didn't volunteer this information because how do you bring that up in a conversation? Like, oh yeah, I started streaming and I'm building this giant pyramid in Minecraft. And yeah, I have these other projects that I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to, review 15,000 different things, and my YouTube channel's going pretty well. And now that I mentioned the YouTube channel, if you want to sign up, I mean, not really sign up, but if you want to be a subscriber, that would be great. I believe I have 125 right now, and I'm trying to have 150 by the end of January. And also, there's now Twitch goals, I believe. I want to have 40 followers. I have like 38 right now. So maybe 40 followers by the end of this week would be really great. So if you're watching live on demand later, you can be like, hey, I want to follow that guy. This is cool. This is like cool stuff he's doing. So yeah, now I don't know when to actually apply for this because it goes out of date in February. Oh yeah, and also, I don't know how that's gonna work because you're not supposed to request any time off. But I think I worked 2 official holidays. So it is possible that I would be able to take some time off in December because I need to take 2 days off. But I will need to talk to my boss about that. My new boss. I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking about this on my time off. I'm thinking about it because I'm really bummed that I'm not able to do my plan. But I will check because I need to take a picture anyway. So I'll take the picture tomorrow. And then I'll check on the site to see if there's any available spots this week. And if there are any available spots this week, because it's only Monday, people like cancel, right? So I will scoop up one and then I'll do it this week. I hope that that's the case. Oh yeah, and also longtime viewers of this channel might know. I'm just complaining about some stuff. um, about 3 weeks ago now, my son was over on the weekend, and I was making some pasta, and I was like pouring the pasta out, and it burnt my foot like very severely. And I didn't really realize this. So I think it like killed the nerves in my foot or whatever. So like for about 4 days it didn't hurt, and then it really hurt. And so I think it's getting better now. I think it's actually like, if you look at it, it just looks like a normal wound, and it's not, sorry for the imagery, it's not oozing pus anymore. But yeah, I thought maybe I might have to go to the doctor and see about it. But, you know, I did the right thing. I cleaned it, I washed it every day. But yeah, I have these slippers and I can't wear them because it's itching the slip, like it's the top of the slipper is rubbing against the wound, which makes it uncomfortable. So, yeah. Old man problems, although I don't think that's not necessarily an old man problem. And I was thinking about this because this is like, it's a severe burn, but it's on my foot and it seems to be healing fine. But I was thinking about like, there was a kid when I was growing up in school, and I think he was older than me, but he had been in some car accident when he was younger, and all of his face was burnt. So, I can't imagine that. Like, my foot is annoying and painful, but like your entire face. And even though like there's only one spot where it's pretty serious, the rest is like healing normally. But so that guy, his entire face must have been affected. I was going to use a more vivid imagery, but I decided not to for my own sake and yours, because I am a friendly and what's the word? Friendly and respectful streamer. Hmm. Not really doing well at following my own schedule though, because it's supposed to be 5:30 to 8:30 CET, and here I am at 3:10. But oh well. So I watched Oppenheimer uh, this afternoon, and it's weird. It's not weird film. It's a Nolan film, and it's not weird. It's very like, there are some parts where it's not that conventional, but for a Nolan film, it's remarkably conventional. And I did not like it. I think that the acting performances of Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. are really great, but apart from that, like it's just I think Quentin Tarantino, I saw an interview with him where he was saying like he doesn't like biopics because they they try to show you the whole story, like a whole uh, story of a life, and it doesn't really work well on film because you don't have that much time. And I think in this case he is like 100% right, because it covers about 50 years of Oppenheimer's life. And I think um, for Oppenheimer, uh, I want to watch some like documentaries about him and maybe see if my feelings about him are correct or whatever. But for Oppenheimer, he seemed to be like very guilt stricken about what he had been behind. And they never show any of the they never show any of the sort of consequences of his actions in Japan. So I think the film could have been better if they were, you know, um, showing that, like maybe just because I think that you could make films that tell the same story, but the timeline is much more compressed. Like maybe he's giving a speech and maybe he is like having flashbacks to the things that he's seen because he went to Osaka, he went to Japan after the war. So I'm sure he saw some things and survivors that were horrifying, right? And he never officially apologized for his part in that. So I think that would make a much more interesting story actually than what was portrayed on film. So that's basically the review that you're going to find on my YouTube channel next week. But one thing I didn't mention in the review is I try. I'm not like It's not like an analysis channel. It's just a review channel. So it's like fundamentally just my opinions about what I think, and if I or what I've seen or read or whatever. So I will do like very rudimentary um, research in the topic, and by that I mean I'll read like Wikipedia article on it. But on the Wikipedia article, it's funny because they mentioned like usually movies have like a controversy section, and I thought that they were going to mention the fact that Oppenheimer, I believe, was well. Let me check. Let me check if that's actually true. I thought that Oppenheimer was banned in Japan. Was the film Oppenheimer banned in Japan? Oh, okay. They did. Yeah, so they did actually show it in Japan, but it seemed like the issue. That's interesting too, because you hear these things and you kind of assume what the problem was, but the problem was kind of a combination of the topic of the movie and also the fact that there was this. If you remember at the time Oppenheimer was released, there was something called Barbieheimer because those were the two popular movies, and there were a lot of memes about it. And in Japan, they thought that it was disrespectful to release those two movies at the same time. But the other criticism of the movie was that it did not portray at all the suffering of the Japanese. But then, if they did, then maybe the argument would be, well, you didn't portray the suffering of the Chinese also. Like, so I don't know. Yeah, I just thought it wasn't like it had all the problems of a biopic, like Tarantino mentioned, but also in terms of Nolan's films, I haven't seen all of his films, but like he's got a weird, um, filmography as well because there's the Dark Knight films, the Dark Knight trilogy, there's the Prestige, there's Inception, and I haven't seen all Nolan's films, but of the ones that I've seen, this is the first one where I'm like, well, the acting is good, but the writing's kind of boring and predictable. There are like a few like creative moments, but it's not like the whole film is very creative, like with the Prestige. The bubbles are coming from. I'm just gonna go see where the bubbles are coming from because if you can't act on your intrusive thoughts in Minecraft, where can you? Where are the bubbles coming from? I don't want to die, but where are the bubbles coming from? Oh, there's lava at the bottom. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, but I gotta get. Ah, there's lava at the bottom. Lava, not love. There's love at the bottom of that ocean. Well, if there's lava at the bottom of the ocean, then why isn't it creating rock formations and islands like Hawaii? I think they may not know how undersea volcanoes work in Minecraft. Also, not to complain too much, but I am in a complaining mood today. No, I won't talk about that. That's a little bit too personal. Na, 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 na. Well, what to talk about then? Oh, if you're looking for a great film to watch, I really recommend Ikiru by Akira Kurosawa. And I have to say, this whole review project, I think that has been the the thing that I am most happy about because I have heard the name Kurosawa, but I never actually watched any of his films. So forcing myself to watch these films that are considered to be like the greatest is really, really good because it gives you it exposes you to things that you might not have seen before, which is good in some aspects and bad in other aspects. It's good because Kurosawa's films are like really, really good, and I would say that he's probably like at the moment my favorite director, just because the acting is so great, the cinematography is so great, and the storytelling is so great. And so he's more famous, I think, in the West for Seven Samurai, but that's not my favorite film of his. So far I've seen three of his films: Seven Samurai, High and Low, and Ikiru. And I would say like Ikiru is number one, and High and Low is number two, and Seven Samurai is number three. So Ikiru is the story of a guy who's been working at one place for 30 years and discovers he has stomach cancer. So then he kind of reevaluates his life and thinks about what he wants to accomplish, or like what does happiness mean, um, and what's the meaning of life and all of that. But he doesn't actually sit down and say like this is the meaning of life. And I think like Kurosawa is really good at asking questions and not necessarily giving you answers, so you can kind of interpret it however you want. So it's really good, I would say. And High and Low is more like a the story of a kidnapping, but it becomes sort of a critique of classes, not just in Japan, but like everywhere. Also in Akira, there's like this great scene where these women want to like have this park, and they just get this very bureaucratic runaround. So it's very understandable nowadays for me. All right, still have two people watching. Which is pretty remarkable considering I started streaming in the middle of the day. So I don't know if you're wondering, but yeah, so that Akira Kurosawa films would probably be the best films I've watched for this project. There's also, it's not a Kurosawa film, but I think uh, it's the same studio. And that was a film called Harikiri or Seppuku. And that is also like a really good film. Um, then there are films like that are maybe not like 10 out of 10, but they're still pretty good, like Das Boot I watched, and that was like this very tense examination of these guys on a boat, and that film was really good because basically all of the sailors on that U-boat are Nazis. Some more committed than others, and you really root for them. So it's kind of shows you how powerful filmmaking is because you can make, uh, if you make a good movie, then you will go along with the characters, even though their motivations are not ones that, if you think about it, you would actually support because basically their whole motivation is to sink as many ships as possible and kill as many civilians as possible because that was what German submarine warfare was about. Yeah, but to answer the question, I'm not sure anybody is asking themselves, which is like, what are the worst films I've watched um, for that project? And I would say the worst film, maybe I'll start with like a surprising thing, is Sergio Leone. He is so well respected as a director, but I think for the most part, his movies are horrible. They're badly paced and they rely too much on um, just extraneous scenes that could be, I'm not sure I'm using that word correctly, but I mean like there are scenes that are unnecessary for the plot and don't provide any character development. Like there's a scene, I'm not sure. So I watched The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and Once Upon a Time in the West, and Once Upon a Time in America. Yeah, so it's Once Upon a Time in the West. So there's a scene where, and this scene lasts for like a good 6 minutes, where this guy is trying to kill a fly with his gun. And the guy is trying to kill the fly with the gun is not actually that important to the plot, you know? So I don't understand. But with Leone, he does like, it's weird because he's talented, but I think some of the movies that he made are not good. And Once Upon a Time in America, I think, is his best film, especially the first part. But that might be because he finally has good actors in it. Um, but the other films that I would consider to be the worst that I've seen, like recently, because I'm sure I've seen worse films, are two Indian films. One's called 13th Fail, and the other one's called Three Idiots. And I didn't like 13th Fail because basically it's all about how this guy is trying to pass this like really prestigious exam so he can go be a police officer. So, but basically what happens is that uh, in India, I forgot what it's called, but you sit this exam, and if you pass, and it's really hard to pass, like not many people pass it. It usually takes like 3 years to pass, but if you pass, then you'll be a police officer or whatever civil servant you're aiming for. And that does not make any sense. And the movie is just like kind of glorifying poverty. So it seems to suggest like if you suffer enough, then you will be rewarded because you've been morally virtuous. And it doesn't actually talk like, there's a lot of scenes involving corruption in the film, and it doesn't actually take any kind of stance about like the only problem with corruption in India is because people aren't honest. And if you get honest police officers, then corruption will stop. And the way to get honest police officers is just for them to be poor and take this exam. So it doesn't make any sense. But I think if the film had been better, like with Das Boot, then you I wouldn't be arguing about the ideology of the film. So yeah, that is one of the worst films. The other one is a film called 13 Idiot. No, not 13 Idiots, 3 Idiots. And there are these 3 engineering students, and they get into engineering school, and one is like, he wants to be an engineer because he's poor, so he wants to support his family. And then there is another guy who wants to be an engineer just because his family wants him to be an engineer. And then there's this other guy who's an engineer for the love of engineering. And basically, the whole point of the movie is to say, like, paternalism is bad. But the way that they do it is really weird. Like, the protagonists do like a bunch of questionable things to the dean, and the movie's like, oh my god, there are consequences, this is horrible, why are you giving consequences? And there's also, it's supposed to be like a romantic comedy kind of thing, but there's a suicide, and the reason the guy commits suicide is because he failed to make a deadline, so he gets kicked out of university. And the movie is like, oh my god, can't you be more understanding? And it's like they're trying to say like engineering is a passion, and if you like, which is a weird thing to say, like I don't think engineers are the most passionate people. But anyway, they're trying to suggest that having deadlines is horrible, and you should just, if the person feels the engineering spirit or whatever, then they can be rewarded. But like, isn't a big part of being an engineer is project management and managing with deadlines? Like, yeah, it's unfortunate that the guy committed suicide, but it's not the school's fault that he didn't meet a deadline. Like, at no point does the plot ever suggest that the reason the guy didn't meet the deadline was the school's fault. So why are we making it like, oh yeah, and then there's a scene where the main character is like, this was not suicide, it was murder, you killed him. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to do an Indian accent, but because they're not even speaking in English in the film. So yeah. um, but yeah, anyway, the character says that it's not suicide, it's murder because the guy failed to meet deadlines, so really bad movie. Although there's a Dutch movie that's worse, but I watched it a long time ago, so I don't remember the plot, but it was much worse. Ooh, maybe I can get the trees and plant them, because I wanted to plant the trees inside the pyramid. But maybe I'll wait. I don't know. I need to make it a bit more interesting for me, because I'm not going to like, if I'm not interested, you're not going to be interested, right? So I think I need to make like, you know, do different things. There's a golem running around here somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna look for trees and plants, and I'm gonna plant them inside. Well, I think I got all of the flowers and vegetables and stuff they're growing over there. I don't know if wheat is a vegetable. Probably not, but all right. I'm gonna get the plants now. Not wood. Oh wait, but is there? No. No. Light gray wool. No. No. Lots of wood. No. Where is my plant chest? Maybe my plant chest. I think my plant chest is actually down there. Actually, I'm gonna take the wool. Gonna take the wool. I have an idea to make it maybe a little bit more interesting, but I'm gonna do the trees first. Oh, there's also some sand. Lots of sand. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think that the trees, yes, the trees are in this direction. Where they are, I don't know though. Tools. I'm sure I have an entire chest full of trees. Where did it go? No. Where did my trees go? Leaves. 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 Where are they? What did I do with the trees? Did I plant the trees already? Where are... Maybe I didn't go back far enough. But I think I looked through all of these. Maybe I did not. Okay. First chest. Second chest. Third chest. Fourth chest. Okay. I thought maybe I planted them already? Where did... No, I have like a box full of trees that has disappeared anyway, like, saplings, because I planted all this stuff. So where did the saplings go? All right, it'll be very boring then. All right, so no oak logs will do. Doot. We'll do 1 row of cobblestone. Yes. Then we'll do. Okay, we need more white wool here, of course. Ooh, we need gray wool. And we'll do 1 row of dirt. Not even a full row of dirt. Then we'll do another row of cobblestone. No gravel. More cobblestone. Where are my plants? I don't think I moved. Maybe I did move all of the plants into the boxes already. Okay, I'll do 1 more line and then I will fill up the rest with dirt. And here we go. Okay. Sheep, what are you doing? We are in the 2nd hour, almost in the 2nd hour. Let's see what we can see. From the top of the pyramid, going to the top of the pyramid, going to the top of the pyramid, the baby pyramid. Okay, can't see a lot. All right. We're also going to go this way because it's the most economical, surprisingly. And we're just going to see what's inside of the chest because I have a feeling that I moved all of the trees inside the chest. So if I did that, then I will, what will I do? What will I do? Tell me, what will I do? I will get rid of 1 row and then come back for the trees. Okay, there's no trees in that chest. No trees in that chest. Oh, there's some things in that chest, but no trees. There are trees in this chest. Okay, there's trees in the chest. I forgot. I knew I had trees somewhere, but I forgot where I put them, so that's not great. So I will get rid of this stuff, and then I will. Oh, I went to the store because I needed bread, and I was also going to buy pasta sauce, but I forgot. Okay, so I will get rid of this stuff, and then I will plant some trees. There's going to be a massive hunk of the pyramid's floor because for some reason I decided that the pyramid should be built on the ocean. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I got hypnotized by the block laying. Very hypnotic actions over here. All right, let me take a little break to check the chat, although I don't think that there's anyone here. There's a bot. Let me just... get rid of the bot, which I have done. It's kind of weird. I still want to play Stardew Valley. Oh, that game's so addictive. Because there's like all of these quests, right? Like not even quests in a sense of slay the dragon. It's more like, oh, you gotta upgrade your barn if you want sheep and, or pigs. And I guess the pigs, they find truffles. Oh, I need pigs because I need truffle oil. Right. Okay, that makes sense then, because there's this mission of completing the community center. And basically to complete the community center, you need like all of these random items that you find in the game. And some are like easier to find than others. But you need like 12 different types of fish. So I was working on my fishing skills. And then there's like some accomplishment where you have like all of the villagers at 5 hearts. So basically at about 4 hearts, they start to treat you like more kind of romantically. Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about Stardew Valley on a Minecraft stream. Probably because this is what I'm doing in Minecraft now. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Also, I'm going to make pasta later. I'm a bit scared. Because imagine burning my foot again. Oh. I think I need to go all the way around. So we have like one row that's cobblestone. And then one row that's something else. Make my floor more artistic. Oh, you can't see the rest of it, but oh no. Do, 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 do. I'm also reading a series of books by Ryan Green, who's like a true crime author. And some of his books have been like really good and kind of horrifying. But he has written, so I think he's written uh, at least 24 books about true crime within the period of like maybe 10 years. And you can really tell because some of the books, the editing is non existent. And like there's this one book about this Canadian serial killer, and he talks about one of the victims saving up money to go to the pictures. And this is in the early 80s in Canada. It was exactly when I was a little kid, and we never said go to the pictures. It's like go to the movies, see a flick, something like that, but not go to the pictures. And I wonder, like, also, because I haven't been living in Canada in a long time, so I think I would have culture shock, reverse culture shock, seeing the way that things are different. Now, this is kind of random, but my friend, the one who had the baby, she's a bit racist. And we're talking about my daughter and my daughter's plans because my daughter, she wanted a while ago to go to uh, United States as like a study program thing, and I think that she decided that she's not going to do that. But anyway, so I was like saying what she wanted to, like some of her plans from before, but and one of the plans was to go to Paris. And my friend was like, "Oh my God, Paris is so horrible. It's full of immigrants." And so I mentioned that because she tells these stories of like times when she's had like, dangerous situations, and none of them, like, okay, one was an immigrant, but the dangerous situation in that story was like she was walking and the immigrant was walking behind her, and that's it. But like there was this Finnish guy who nearly assaulted her, and like these Polish guys who were drunk and nearly assaulted her on a tram. So it's not immigrants that you need to be afraid of. Unfortunately, it's just people. And also, it's kind of weird. Like, should be like, "Oh, immigrants are horrible. Immigrants are horrible," and it's like that's also funny. What's the word? Funny narrative that immigrants are horrible because they don't mean all immigrants, right? They never mean all immigrants. They just mean the ones that look like the one thing that they don't like or the culture that they don't like. And I think I said to her once, I'm an immigrant. And she's like, "Oh, you're not an immigrant." And it's like, because I'm white, I'm not an immigrant. I'm like 100% an immigrant. I do not fully share the values of the society that I live in. I am like I think if I were Muslim and I existed the way I exist, um, people would be furious with me because I don't speak Polish very well. And it's weird, like kind of like it's always been the case, but maybe I'm noticed it more recently. It's like people bend their way of being to accommodate my lack of being Polish. Like at work, people will have meetings, and when I'm there, like it's a bit different because we are an international firm, but when I'm at a meeting at work, people will speak in English even though everybody else is Polish. And I can speak Polish. I mean, maybe I'm not very elegant when it comes to speaking in Polish, but I can definitely understand it. All right, I'm going to do this way. Putting the wool. Yeah. Just thinking like what a weird assumption that is. I forgot what I'm supposed to do to. I think it's just shift. Anyway, um, like, yeah, it's a really weird assumption that people will just speak your language. But if your language is English, people will just speak your language. You know. And I think when I first came here in Poland, it was a struggle for people to understand English. And now I think most younger people speak functional English. So yeah, I think I need to improve my Polish. Let me have like something in the sky. do, 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 do. Okay, so the exciting plan for this stream is that I will get rid of the blocks that are in my inventory, and then I will go plant some trees, and then I will get the sand and work on the outer layer of the pyramid if I have time. I think I will have time, but we'll see. Then, if I super have time, I will make the logs into wooden planks and then continue this section. I wonder if I should stream in Polish. I don't know. Maybe not. People do watch. Oh no! I dropped my computer. I dropped my computer. That was not something that I wanted to happen, but it happened. Said that in a very dramatic way. We still have 2 people who are watching, which is pretty amazing. Much like the dedication of that trader, when I have literally never traded anything with anyone in this world. I saw this meme where somebody was like pondering like, oh, it's so crazy that you could like pass down your Minecraft world to your family, and there could be like generations of people who are playing Minecraft on the same world. And I thought, that's not crazy. That's awesome. So yeah, I don't think my son will be super interested in Minecraft when he's an adult, because I think, you know, if you spend too much time doing something, you want to do other things eventually, which is fine, and he'll like find things that he likes, but probably this game will always be sort of nostalgic for him. So if he wants this world, I think I should like download it every year and give it to him. And then he can be like, yeah, that's Dad's world. That's Grandpa's world, son. That's great, Oh no, I'm stuck. Oh Jesus, I went in the wrong direction. What's going on? Up. Oh, I was clicking the wrong button. I was like, why am I not surfacing? Oh, that was stressful. I mean, a little stressful. It wasn't super stressful. Also, this is not a Stardew Valley stream, but like you have this farm and you can become more and more financially successful if you like invest in certain things, and you need certain things to complete the community center. But then, what's the point of having all of the money? Like, I kind of don't get it. Because if you complete the community center, and you're just like this farm that's making so much money, and I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what the point of the game is after you have done all of that stuff. Because I think that there is, like, I think it takes a long time, but I'm just realizing that there is an end to the game. Like, if you finish the community center, if you get, like, the candles that grandpa lights, then you can say, yeah, the game is done. Let me check the chat because I don't know when I checked it last. Actually, not that long ago. I'm not sponsored, but I would love that. I think, Pepsi is superior. It's a superior cola. And that's probably because I decided, like, I don't know if this is still a thing now, but it was really popular to take sides about different things where I was growing up. Like, and it's kind of ridiculous how extreme this was, but like, of course, there was cola. You had to choose which cola you liked, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, and I chose Pepsi when I was like 4 or something. And then there was like what car you liked, and generally it was like GM or Ford, and that was like an important decision. And then there, of course, was the baseball team. Where I grew up, you had a choice between the Tigers and the Blue Jays. The Tigers were the more traditional choice, but the Blue Jays would have been the more patriotic choice, considering it's weird. Like I think the Blue Jays started as a franchise when I was born, actually, in 1977. So they actually weren't around a lot. And then the hockey team, that was probably one of the most important decisions when you're a kid, like which hockey team you liked. And there were two acceptable answers at the time. One was the Maple Leafs, and they had been coming out of a period where they were like really bad, and the Red Wings. So the Red Wings were kind of dominant in the 90s, early 90s. But, the older generations would be like, oh, the Red Wings were really horrible because of the 80s. So, yes. So the Red Wings or the Maple Leafs. And then you could have some unconventional choices. Like, I didn't like those choices, so I chose the Canucks just to be weird, I think, because I didn't like this. I never liked where you had to choose all of these different things. So yeah, I chose the Canucks, and I was really happy when they went to the 1994 Stanley Cup final against the New York Rangers. But of course, they lost in 7 games. But that Canuck team was like crazy good. You had Pavel Bure, Kirk McLean, Cliff Ronning. I had all of the. Also, we're kind of in this era too, but like this, people used to collect this, like a lot of hockey cards, and it's called the junk era now, or junk wax era, basically, because there was so much of it. Like, and the idea is that you have like these rookie cards and they'd be valuable because they're the first cards of somebody, but like corporations had figured out that if you have this phenom, like I think I may have had like an Eric Lindros rookie card, but they put out, because I could talk a lot about hockey, but they put out so many like millions and millions of Eric Lindros rookie cards because they thought that he was going to be like, he was the next one. Like he was the first like legitimate, well, maybe not. Well, I think Lemieux started too early to be considered the replacement to Gretzky, but Lindros was the first guy who was called like the next one. So there was like huge hype on him. And then, of course, there was this thing where he was drafted by the Nordiques. And he had like his rookie card basically was, I think, his Oshawa Generals thing. But yeah. So anyway, why did I start talking about Lindros? Because so I had these pro set and these pro set hockey cards, and I had most of that 94 team. And I even like wrote to the team and asked for autographs. And I think this is the one thing that I'm like upset that I didn't keep, but I had like Kirk McLean's autograph, the goalie. I should have kept that. But so I checked like recently, I think maybe like 6 months ago, like prices on those pro set hockey cards, and it's like ridiculous. They're like worth 10 cents now. So when you got them, they basically were the most expensive that they'd ever be. Yeah, and I didn't collect just pro set. I collected a lot of different things. And yeah, when I had these big like binders full of hockey cards. And when I went to university, I had like way too much stuff in my room, and this is kind of idiotic, like because I never moved before. I grew up in one place. We took like so many books and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I don't have enough stuff. I don't have enough room, so I got rid of the hockey cards. And my brother was like, oh, you're crazy. Those are going to be worth a lot of money someday. And that's what everybody thought. But fun fact, no, they were not worth a lot of money. They were worthless, or maybe not worthless, but like 10 cents a card. And if you have probably like the whole collection, if I had kept it, I don't know about the Kirk McLean. Oh, maybe I'll check that now. Let's see. How much a Kirk McLean autographed hockey card would be. Probably not much because, he's not like a Hall of Famer or anything. McLean autographed card. Let's see. Oh, they don't even have. That's not him. Okay, so they have a new card on from Upper Deck, I guess, and that's $30 to $50. And 90, so 1988, 1990. His rookie card is $92, but graded. $150? Ah! Okay, so a lot of these are just like when they're like mass produced and you got somebody to like sign it, and probably also the card that I got, but it's actually wasn't like a hockey card. It was like a picture of the guy and he signed it. So I think that would have been more okay. I'm not sure if that would be more valuable or less valuable. I'm sorry I got distracted, but such is life. Okay, so let's say Kirk. I don't know if it's McLean autograph picture. I'm not sure if it's McLean or McLean. Okay. Oh, but that's a great picture, actually. They have I don't want to switch from Minecraft, but they have like but it's only $19. Oh, I see that this is something that they used to. So basically, it's a picture of Kirk McLean being hugged by Trevor Linden after they lost the final. Oh, that's the one I had. Yeah, $9. $9. $9. Yeah, well, $9. That's so my prized possession as a child is $9 now, $9 American. So wait, what am I doing? I want to do this one. Okay. Yeah, so that's not great, but so anyway, we had to do all of that, like pick a hockey team and whatever, and then later, I think kind of default, like I mentioned to my so the Ottawa Senators came into the league in 1992, I believe, and they weren't very good. Like historically, they were one of the worst expansion teams of all time, which led them to sign this massive phenom because they had the number one draft pick called Alexander Dagle. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but basically he was, and you can tell that I don't know how to pronounce it, but he was like a complete bust. He was not very good. And then they had players like Alexei. Yeah, that was later, I think. Not Yashin, but they had like, eventually they had a lot of good players in the 2000s. But I mentioned to my mom sometime in the 90s that I thought that the uniform looked cool, especially the black one, which I have now because it's now their main jersey. But yeah, so she assumed that that meant that I liked them. Um, so I go to university with this like senator's blanket. I don't know. I was such an awkward kid. Um, yeah, but anyway, earlier it didn't really fit my narrative about having to choose different sides. But oh, yeah, also, like I mentioned, it extended to cars, to colas, to hockey teams, to baseball teams, probably basketball teams too, but the basketball team came later. Um, and then to politics, right? And like we talk about like the polarization of different countries now, and it is polarized. It's all connected to Russian influence, and they also found that a lot of these like really big MAGA accounts in the United States, like what a surprise, are actually being run by Russians. Like I'm not very, very shocked. But before that, like I remember having conversations with my Uncle Charlie, and he was like a very smart guy, but he was like a farmer. And we were talking about the 1990 elections in Ontario. And in the 1990 elections, a guy named Bob Ray won. And this was surprising because he was a member of the NDP, who were like social democrats. And and provincially, they weren't even like that socially democratic. They had like later he would become a liberal. And if you don't know, the liberals in Canada are kind of like, I mean, now they're more like they're in the center, and then sometimes depending on the political winds, they'll be center left or center right. And at the time, the liberals were more center right. So anyway, he was elected with a majority in the biggest province of Canada, Ontario, and like by population. And we were talking about it, and I remember talking with my Uncle Charlie about this, and he was like, "No, no, no, like this is never." Because I was like, "Oh, I don't remember exactly because I was 13 when we had this discussion, probably." But I said something like, "Well, like because connected to the teams, like I was like real, I was pro NDP at the time because I liked to be different, and like literally people would like have the same, like they would treat political parties like sports teams, but like not in the sense of like, oh, my team is always great and it will always win. It's just like, yes, I was born into being a Detroit Red Wing fan, and I will die being a Detroit Red Wing fan, that kind of thing. And I was born into supporting the Conservative Party of Canada, and I will die supporting the Conservative Party of Canada, or the Progressive Conservative Party, as they were known at the time, because Canadian politics is really weird. Yeah, so I said, surely there must have been another NDP government in Ontario. And you're like, nope, nope, nope. So yeah. So I can't think of any other like things that you were made to choose back then, but there were a lot. And I think my family probably were on the more liberal side, like the Canadian center right liberal when I was growing up, because we really hated Brian Mulroney, but a lot of people hated Brian Mulroney at the time. Who was the prime minister? Oh, and it was weird because, man, I don't know, like weird to talk about politics because it was like so important for me at the time, and now I couldn't give you a very um, coherent breakdown of the current political situation in Canada. But like 1988, I could tell you. So basically, 1988 was the free trade election, and the Liberals were against free trade because they wanted to protect Canadian industry. And I said that they were center right, but like, it's weird how those things shift, right? The Maruni conservatives were like pro free trade, and I think in retrospect, free trade is actually great. You just need to have, as long as the countries have the same standards, like I think that people and goods should be able to move freely, because we see with Trump that tariffs don't work. They're just taxes on the poor in a different way, and tariffs are not the best way to regulate an economy. So yeah, the 1988 election was all about that. And then, so Maruni won, and then he had the free trade deal, and he also wanted, and we don't really talk about this now in Canada, but there were a couple of different referendums for Quebec separation. And to prevent that, there was this idea that you needed to repatriate the Constitution, because Quebec had never agreed to the current modern Canadian Constitution. So there was something called the Meech Lake Agreement, and then people were voting on that. And then there was the Charlottetown Accords, and people were voting on that. And I think that they both failed. And then there was another referendum on Canadian sovereignty, but then on not Canadian sovereignty, on Quebec sovereignty, and like they failed. That came after Maruni, and they failed, but just barely. And I remember some person from Quebec like saying like, "Oh, why do you care?" And it's like, what do you mean, why do I care if my country falls apart? Yeah, but at the time we were like, really, because Yugoslavia was happening, so we were like really afraid that that would happen in Canada. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna make plant some trees now. Maybe I'll check the chat, because I have been talking about Canadian politics for a while, but I can talk a lot about it. So at least that era, because it's kind of fascinating, right? Because after that, or maybe during it, there was a guy named Lucien Bouchard, and he was, so now it's completely different, but at the time there was a political party in Quebec. They're still around, and they were like really pro-independence, called the Parti Québécois, or like the Party for Quebecers. And they were started by a guy named René Lévesque, and he was completely like, if you have a stereotypical image in your mind of a French Canadian, like that's René Lévesque, like smoking cigarettes and all of that stuff. And so the first referendum happened when he was in charge of the Parti Québécois. And then later, so Lucien Bouchard was actually a member of the Maruni's government, and he decided that he also supported separation of Quebec, and he wanted to have a like he wanted to make it like that Quebec would be independent. So he started a political party called the Bloc Québécois. So you have like the Parti Québécois and the Bloc Québécois. But the Bloc Québécois was basically to support Quebec separation inside of the Canadian Parliament. Where do I want to start my trees? I'm going to start my trees right here. Okay, I'm going to do 2 blocks, so there's enough room for people to walk between the trees. Yeah, so basically, like, it's a federal party, and in one election, they actually won enough votes to be the opposition, And you might think, well, what's wrong with being the opposition? Well, in Canada, the opposition is called Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition because, we're a constitutional monarchy. And, you can't exactly be Her Majesty's loyal opposition if you want to separate from Canada. And it's really funny because I got these certificates of Canadian citizenship for my family and like my kids and me. And there's actually like an oath you can say, which is probably what you do when you become a citizen of the country. And the oath seriously says, oh, maybe I can find it. Yeah, maybe I'll find it. But the oath says, right. Okay. I'm going to read the oath to you. I'm not going to show it to you because it's got personal details. Maybe not there. Not there, not there, not there, not there. Okay, this one. Oh, not there. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay. Okay, that is not. Okay. Okay. All right. Is like declaration. So it's called the Certificate of Canadian Citizenship. The Ministry of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship hereby certifies that Adam Leverton is a Canadian citizen and as such is entitled to all the rights and privileges and bears all the responsibilities, obligations, and duties of a Canadian subject. And then it's signed by the Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. And then there is this oath of citizenship, which is in English and French. So I will read the English. I swear or affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, King of Canada, his heirs and successors, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Canada, including the Constitution, which recognizes and affirms the Aboriginal and treaty rights of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, and fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen. So, like, that is wild, actually. I've never seen that before, never heard about it before. And I think if more people knew that that was something that the Canadian government was requiring you to do, they'd be like, okay, maybe not. Let's not do that, right? Okay, maybe I'll just make it 2. Going really fast. Well, anyway, yeah. So Lucien Bouchard, that was very, very controversial because, how you can be a member of the loyal opposition when you're not loyal at all. And the other thing that was wild about him is that he lost his leg when he was a member of Parliament because he got some kind of weird infection and there was like did that tree grow so fast already? Jesus, look at that. Wow. That tree really took off. All right, but now that looks good though. Yes. I'm just running in here. Okay. There's trees. Um, okay. Hard to say where to put the trees though. Um, right by the granite. That's nice. That is granite. Okay. Put some trees over here. You put the trees in there? No. Okay, we're probably going to have to axe some of the trees eventually, but I don't know. I think it actually looks quite good that there's random trees inside my pyramid. Okay, we'll start the trees here. This is a good system, though. Maybe not that one, but never run out of wood. Okay, now I'm not concentrating very well, and I'm just doing like 3 at once. Or 2 at once. The point is that there's enough space to walk in between the trees, and to get rid of the trees. That's the main point. To plant everything. There's just going to be a lot of trees that are like 2 stuck together. Because that's what happens. $64, 128 trees left of these oak trees or whatever they are. Put them on this side of the wool. I think that's going to attract lightning, actually. Which is something I want. I want to see the wool burn. Also, speaking of liking Pepsi, so I remember once we went to McDonald's, and this was kind of like a big deal for me and probably my brother too, because we lived about an hour away from any fast food restaurants, and to eat in a fast food restaurant, you had to go to like the big city. It's a bit different now. The big city. Yeah, so we went to McDonald's, and we went. Well, first of all, I felt guilty about this for like so long in my life, but now I know it's like kind of psychology. But anyway, I was a big fan of Alf, and McDonald's was having some kind of like promotion for Alf, and my mom didn't want to go because it was like expensive. But I I was like, little kid, very determined to go and get my Alf coloring book or whatever. So I had like this huge tantrum, and this might not have been the same day actually, but maybe it was. I don't know. But anyway, I remember going to McDonald's, and they're like, "What do you want to drink?" And I'm like, "Pepsi." And they're like, "We don't have Pepsi. Is Coke okay?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's not. I want Pepsi." Because I could not, but like, this is the first time I realized something about capitalism. It's like, they make this big deal like you get choices, but you actually don't get choices because it's all about like the corporate deals that these corporations make with each other. Because why not have Pepsi at McDonald's? Well, I think if they didn't have Coke at McDonald's, then that would be, I think that's probably like 30% of Coke's profits are from McDonald's, or definitely back then that was the case. Yeah. Oh, the trees are so big already. Craziness. We're now in the second hour, well, third hour now of the stream. So if you have something you want to talk about apart from me just rambling about Canadian politics or about Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Oh, I think it looks so good. I like it. It's going to be like a big greenhouse, actually. It's going to be a pyramid, but the top is all going to be glass. That's my plan, anyway. Okay. Right. So this is dirt. Okay, there's no dirt in this direction. I thought that there would be dirt because that's going to be a long way as well. So it would be great if there was dirt so I can get rid of. Yeah, I think there is dirt. Getting rid of some trees. Getting rid of some trees. It's the bee's knees. He's getting rid of trees. 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 Okay. I think somebody may have sent me a message. Probably not. Not was the answer to that one. Let me see though. Okay. That sounded like a message, but it wasn't, so I'm not going to worry about it. So my idea is that trees will only exist in this world inside of the pyramid. Like there'll be complete and utter deforestation everywhere else. Sounds great, right? It does. It does indeed. Okay, I guess this is the only other dirt. I'm going to start over here. I don't know why it's doing two. I think I'm just pressing the button down to walk at the same time, and then it like double clicks somewhat automatically. I think I'm gonna have too many trees. Which is horrible because Okay, will I run out of trees? That is the question. I don't think I will, but maybe I will. I don't know. Da, da, da. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, yeah, you can see. It's also good because then you have like a sense of direction. So that one didn't even render. I was going so fast. Okay. I think I ran out of places to put my trees. Or, yeah, kind of. Maybe over here. Yes, over here. Indeed. I think he just disappeared. Okay. That required a lot more concentration than I thought that it would. But now I have trees everywhere. In the innards of my pyramid. And they really don't need a lot of time to grow, which is a bit surprising, but okay. All right. The one thing I'm worried about is that I won't be able to freely go in any direction now that I put the trees there, but I think that they won't hinder movement that much. Okay, so now I'm going to go and, well, I need to get out of here, but I'm going to go, oh, no, I guess I can still walk in that direction. And I can always access the chest from the other side and then move them if that becomes a hindrance. Dun, 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 dun. And it was weird, like people being nostalgic, like my friends, because they're like, "Oh, I was in first grade in the 2013," and it was like, "What? People are so young." All right, I have come for one specific chest, which I think is over here. No. Oh, I still have more trees. Ah, damn it. That's okay. That's okay. That's all right. That's fine. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one, but it's close to that one. Not that one. It's one of these. Maybe it's this one. This one. Okay. This one. Yes, this one. Okay. So I'm going to use all of this inside of the pyramid. Maybe not the die, though. Okay. Getting rid of the button. All right. So we are going to go in here. Ow. And of course, these trees being all willy-nilly is just dangerous. So what we need to do is we need to make a fence around these trees. Because because I'm trying to use absolutely everything that I crafted, even though that might not make a lot of sense. Do I have a gate somewhere? I do have a gate. I'll put the gate randomly there. Requires a lot of concentration. Wonder if I'll have enough. No, not that one. That one. Yeah, I'm hungry. You can do that? I didn't know you could do that. You could stack a fence on top of a fence. All right. Let's just maybe like put the. We'll put stairs randomly here for no good reason. All right, now. Yeah, that's not good. Just going to randomly put a fence around this. A wall more than a fence. Gotta love a random wall. I can't believe I wasted so much sandstone on this wall. I mean, I built it before. I built it for the I built it for the palace that I made inside the walls of the castle. I am using all of the material though, so that is good, I guess. Yeah, sorry I'm quiet, but this requires a surprising amount of. Oh, I don't like that the wall's different colors though. Well. Okay, I'm gonna put some more chests over there. Okay, more chests. And I still have I still have a way to go around that. That looks better. It does look better, doesn't it? That's what walls are made for. To make things look better. Okay, we're going to use these stairs, the granite stairs. Probably shouldn't have put it so close to the tree, but oh well. All right, so yeah, where else can I put a fence? It's got to make sense, right? Because that was a section over there, so it makes sense that there's a section of fence over there. And maybe, no, that's just a row. But maybe I'll put a fence in front of the trees. Oh yeah, like here. Gonna run out of fence material anyway. It's the tiniest fence. I guess technically it's a wall. Because I don't think you can have stone fences. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe that's my own private definition. Yeah, it definitely looks better that there's something there. I'm just gonna put like hold on. Can I do? Yeah, of course you can do it like this. No, but I wonder if I can do like okay. Then can I like yes, exactly like that. No, why is that upside down? Like what? 9. That's not how you do stairs, man. It's not how you do stairs. Yeah, like that. Okay. Do we have random stairs up there? They don't look very good, but there are random stairs up there. Random stairs. Okay, people, I am going to finish now. Thank you for your support. If you want to follow me on Twitch, that would be great. And if you want to subscribe on YouTube for more exciting Minecraft action, and also I stream other things like Stardew Valley recently. So my next streaming will be on Wednesday and then on Thursday.